fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Celestial Warrior set from Xin Nan Xing Toys. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. My apologies if I am not. But this is very similar to the Construction Engineering Team set that I took a look at previously. It's another one of those like KO type sets that I found on Amazon, but this time they're all dinosaurs, from dinosaur to vehicle and back again, 6-in-1. I'm very excited. Artwork on the front of the box here I actually think looks really cool. I like this quite a bit. Up here it just says Celestial Warriors. For some reason the first three letters are much larger than the rest of the words, but it is what it is. Not really much going on the bottom here. So we have our 6 dinosaurs that make up the set. We have a Pterosaur, a Triceratops, a Stegosaurus, a T-Rex, a Parasaurolophus, I always say that wrong, so my apologies, and a Brachiosaurus. So really nice assortment of dinos there, but it's not done. They go from dino to vehicle. They have what they call chariot modes, so they have wheels, and they don't change all that much, but they have wheels, so we'll check it out. For some reason, the Pterosaur is a fighter, while the rest are chariots. I'm guessing because he's still skybound. But taking a look on the back here, we get a product shot of the combined robot mode and then the individual vehicle and dino mode for each. I don't think you can actually pull off this pose. I'm just going to say that now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. I'm going to go ahead and we'll take a look at all of our dinos here. So I just wanted to do a quick dino group shot. I'm going to go through these guys one by one so you can get a good look at all their different transformations and everything. But wanted to just kind of put all 6 of them together so you can see how big they are in size comparison to each other. Obviously the T-Rex and the Pterosaur are the largest of the group. The T-Rex's head is just quite gigantic in general because it has to kind of be the main torso of the combined robot. But the Pterosaur is actually pretty huge as well. I kind of wish that he or the T-Rex was a different color, just because when you have the 6 of them together, it's weird that 2 of them are the same color. But when you have them in the combined robot mode, it's kind of nice because then they seem like they're kind of one massive large torso section, so that's kind of cool. But I feel like they could have easily done this guy in either pink or black or, you know, a different shade of blue or some other kind of color just to make it, you know, differentiate it from the T-Rex when you have them all together like this. But they still all look really cool. They don't have a yellow one because I was thinking maybe he could be yellow, but they each kind of have a little bit of yellow on the individual dinos here, which I kind of like. I like that as an accent color that runs throughout all of the different mecha. Kind of reminds me of the Kyoryugers, honestly. Having that yellow as a common accent color, I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and go through each of these one by one. We'll start first with the Pterosaur. So here is the Pterosaur. Now, I will say that this set, when compared to the previous set that I looked at, the Construction and Engineering set, this set seems a lot cleaner, and I think it's because they didn't really use any paint. Almost everything is just different colored plastic, and it gives it kind of a nice, sharp, clean look. You don't really have to worry about any paint smudges or anything like that. The only place they really have any paint is the eyes, and you can kind of see how they didn't do the best job lining them up, but it's not terrible. And it's such a minute amount of paint per figure that I really don't mind it. It's nice that they just kind of used different color plastic for everything, which I like a lot. So you have this translucent blade here that you can kind of pop out of the back, and that would just slide in there. You can see there's a little track, and there are these little grooves here. So that's how you can slide that in to be the tail. Really nice range of motion for the wings here. So this piece can go all the way in and out like that, and really almost completely around. Then you have this that can kind of go in and out, and also it can flap up and down. So it's a really nice range of motion there. And you can hear the nice ratchet joints, which I appreciate. So I think that's really cool. So really nice range of motion. You have the head that can move up and down like this. And again, you can hear the ratchet joints. You can actually take the head off. What you're supposed to do is take the sword and now put it in the mouth. And then this is supposed to be like a smaller short sword that the giant robot can use. But the problem is, because of this square connector here, the larger robot, the combined robot, actually cannot hold this sword. So while it does look cool, you actually can't use this as a sword for that robot. But they do give you a bunch of weapons, and I think there's like 4 or 5 different weapon configurations you can do, and we'll get into all that later. So that's pretty cool. Now, when they put this in the fighter mode, they really just want you to put that in its mouth, and then they kind of just fold up the wings. And he has these wheels on the bottom here, as you can see. So he can kind of... Now, you'd have to fold these up if you wanted him to utilize those wheels. But the other problem is, because of the way those wheels are, it's not a great center of gravity, so he'll just tip over most of the time. So you can kind of... And it rolls nice, honestly. But the problem is he's just going to fall over because his weight is so weirdly distributed. I honestly wish that these could fold all the way up vertically, and then you could have kind of like a cool like wing car, almost kind of reminding me of something like Megatron from Galaxy Force or Transformers Cybertron, something like that. That would have been neat to be able to flip these up more vertically. But if you want to just pretend, you know, this is the fighter mode, you can kind of just do this and then just kind of pretend it's just like a jet, I guess. So then I don't really know why he has the wheels, but he does. But overall, I think this is a fun little dino. I think it's got great articulation. The amount of articulation in the wings, I think, is really nice. And just the wingspan, when fully extended, is pretty impressive. I mean, it's really nice and large. And this is, of course, going to become a backpack for the combined robot. So to get it ready for the combined robot, literally, you're just going to take this off. And then you can just kind of pop this in like that. And then there you go. That is the backpack for the combined robot. You can put them up like that if you like. You can have them kind of straight out to the side, however you like. A lot of posability options there with the wings. But yeah, that's ready to go. So here is the T-Rex. Now, his eyes are just always looking straight up to the ceiling, almost kind of like he's rolling his eyes, just kind of, you know, giving off that, like, what a week I'm having it kind of expression. Is just kind of hilarious to me. The mouth can open, and he's got a giant molded tongue in there, which is kind of funny. He's got these very tiny little yellow plastic T-Rex arms, and then he's got these big legs down here. Now, because these are going to be kind of the thighs for the combined robot, you have a decent amount of articulation there, and you can kind of hear that ratchet. You can go around like that. These are going to just kind of kick to the back here, exposing the connection points. Honestly, very similar to the T-Rex from the original Power Rangers or Jew Ranger. Those legs kind of flip around to the back, and then the connection ports are down there. But just the fact that he's always just kind of looking at the ceiling just makes me laugh. I don't really know why. Unless these are just kind of like... Actually, when I first looked at this, I have to admit, I saw this as kind of like the pupil and a yellow eye. But maybe these are just kind of like giant bags under his eyes, and then he's just got beady little black eyes. I don't know. I guess you can interpret it however you would like, but that is a way to look at it. I love the giant mouth, though. I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, the head is quite large. He's got a tiny little tail back here, but overall, I really do kind of like his design. He kind of reminds me, again, of the Kyoto Hugers, and I apologize. Was it... no, I was going to call him Tiramigo, but that's from Your Soldier. The tiny little T-Rex that he used for the power-up mode, and I apologize. Someone in the comments will help me out, and I should know its name. But when the T-Rex would shrink down into the little blaster for the power-up mode, and he would run around tiny, that's what this reminds me of because the head is so big. Let's go ahead and get him into the chariot mode. This is actually really cool, and I think is one of my favorite chariot modes. But this is going to kind of click to about here like this. We're going to open this up, and then this is going to fold down so that this can come back in, and now this will fold on top and peg in right here. I have to line this up. Did I have this right? Yeah. There we go. So peg that in, and then you can kind of put the arms all the way forward. And then this little wheel right here will flip forward and click around in place like that. And then this is his chariot mode. Honestly, it kind of looks like a cool little motorcycle. And I feel like with the tail being up here, like the back of the seat, you could actually fit someone in there if you had a character small enough. Let me see if I have... Well, you know what? We'll just use RC because she's right here. But see, her feet are too big. All right, hold on. Maybe we can use... How about Sound Blaster? Well, I think Sound Blaster might fit perfectly. Oh, it's on now. Look at that. That is perfect. Sound Blaster with his oversized giant T-Rex motorcycle. Come on. Let's go. That's great stuff. So I really like the chariot mode for this one. I think it's easily my favorite just because it looks like it could actually be a motorcycle with the way it transforms. And I just think that's really, really cool. I like that quite a bit. Getting him into the combined mode for the larger robot is actually very simple. You're going to lift this back up, unhook that, and then you have to kind of bring this head forward, but you have to kind of move it around in a way that it can actually get free, because at certain angles you won't actually be able to get it out of there. So let me pop all this back where it's supposed to go, and then bring this forward, and then this should be free to flip around. It's not quite... There we go. So it's... This back part of the head can sometimes get caught in there depending on how you have this oriented. So this will flip around and click into place right there. This should come up, and then these two spots right here and here will peg into these tabs right here. So you kind of want to bring this down as far as you can, and that's going to push the T-Rex arm straight down, but that's fine. That's what you want. And then this is going to kind of peg in here, but you want this to kind of go right there just to fill in that negative space. This is not going to click anywhere. It's just going to fill in that negative space. It's only going to click in back here. And then just kind of get the thighs ready. So there you go. Now you are ready. We'll take a quick look at the head sculpt here for the combined mode. The eyes are very recessed, and the helmet crown here really kind of makes them hard to see. But they are there. So the head sculpt for the combined mode is okay. I wish it was a little better, but it's not too bad. So we'll do the two legs together. We have a purple Stegosaurus, and then we have the orange Brachiosaurus. I really love both of these. Again, they look super clean because they just use all different colored plastic. Again, the only paint is a little bit of blue there for the eye, but it just looks really good. I love the color combo here. I think the spikes look good. Got some spikes back here on the tail. It's simplistic, and he doesn't really have much in terms of articulation. You can kind of put the head side to side, and you can hear that ratchet. It's really nice. And then this is obviously going to come up because that's going to kind of form a toe for the foot, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But yeah, he just looks good. I really like this. I think the color scheme looks great. You've got some dark gray plastic here inlaid to give it some more detail. Got the white plastic legs. You can see the wheels here. Just all in all, I really love this design. For the chariot mode, it's very simple. You're just going to flip all of the legs forward, and now you can use the wheels. And so that'll roll. It honestly rolls pretty well. Not really, too much else you could do. I guess if we bring Sound Blaster back in, maybe he could try to surf on here or something. That would kind of work. Or if you want to use a different scale, we could bring in a super tiny Dr. Wu blaster, and he could kind of hang out. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. So, lots of fun to be had. But in any case, the chariot mode is very basic, but that's what it is. Here is the Brachiosaurus. I also love this guy. His little, head sculpt design is so fun. He has just this kind of little derp face that I absolutely love. His eyes are painted, but they definitely messed it up a little bit better on this side. But I just love the design. I love the sculpt. Everything about this guy is great. He's even kind of set to always be back a little bit. You can't really have him stand straight because the legs won't reach if you do it like that. So you have to kind of put him at this angle. And he just looks great. I love this guy. He's honestly one of my favorites. I might be honest, I think these two are my favorite in the set, to be quite honest. The colors are great. The designs are great. I just really love these guys. This is going to work the same way, only the legs go backwards this time. And then the chariot mode is the same thing on the wheels. And then you have a lot of empty space there. Let's see. Can we fit Blaster in? Oh, yeah. Good stuff. So I think they're fun. The chariot modes are, you know, not really a selling point, but they're there and they're fun and just a little something extra. Now, to transform this into the leg, very simply, you're just going to leave the legs where they were, put that back tail piece in there, which I will admit, once it's in there, it's very difficult to get back out again. This is going to go down like this. When you get to about here, you want to bring this down and flip this 180 and then click that into place, and then that will become your toe for the one leg like that. And then this one is pretty much already done. You just have to go ahead and rotate this in and then bring this up, and then there is your other leg. Now, I guess technically you could, I was going to say, you could kind of try to get ankle tilt out of these. At least I feel like that's what they were trying to do. But because these pieces are in the way, you kind of can't. At least for him. I think maybe you could get some ankle tilt for him. Yeah, you could get ankle tilt out of him. It would work there. But there are our two legs. Alright, here are the two arms, which unfortunately, in my opinion, are the two weakest. We have the Parasaurolophus and the Triceratops. I think this is actually just a different piece of plastic there for the yellow eye. But the yellow looks great with the blue. I think that works really well. You can kind of see the little fist here on his back. And I guess technically you can move these little arms. They're very tiny, but you can move the little arms. You can move the little legs. You can even move their little tails. But they don't really have much in the way of articulation. Kind of just the same thing. You can kind of pop the legs back, but that's really it. Move the tail a little bit. The chariot mode, you're just going to flip these back like this. I kind of like to put this up like this, just because, again, I feel like it gives it a little bit more of a motorcycle feel. That rolls pretty well. And then this one, you're just going to kind of go up. Now, I will say, do not push these all the way in as far as they can go, because they're very hard to get back out again. So I just kind of put them about there. These you can flip up, and then again, you can just put that there if you like that. And then this is the chariot mode for this one. And they both roll really well. I mean, honestly, they roll very nicely. But yeah, that's really it for the chariot mode. Now, for the arm mode, you're going to pop these apart here in the center. You can see that that was pegged in right there into that little spot. And then you're just going to kind of pop this out and spin this around. Spin this around. So this is going to be his right arm. And you can see that there's kind of a bend there. You can see, although with all of this in the way, you can't get much out of it, I'll be honest. But that's pretty much, that's the one arm like that. And I think you just put that down like that. This one's a little bit more of a mess. So when you pop this apart in the exact same way and you try to straighten these out, these little legs for the Triceratops will really get in the way pretty much no matter what you do. So if this is the connection here, you kind of have to bring these down because otherwise this won't be able to connect to the body. And so you have the same hinge here, but to utilize it, you'd have to put these out to the side so that you can free that up. So you have these legs in the way. You'd want them to be out to the side, but you can't. These you'd want to be up so that they're not in the way and you can't. So it's like these are in the exact opposite orientations I would want them to be. But that's about what you can get out of it. You can kind of get use of the elbow. But that's pretty much it. I guess you can put this either way. I'll put that one up like that. So anyway, those are the two arms. So now we are ready to combine this guy all together here. Alright, combining these together is fairly simple. You're just going to match up the connection spots here, and they just kind of drop in, assuming they don't want to waggle around. There we go. And they don't really click into place. They just kind of like snugly fit there, which is nice. Pop that on like so. Tilt this up ever so slightly. And then these are going to connect in here. There we go. And there we go. So the arms, like I said, they're a little wonky, honestly. I don't know how they tried to get that pose on the box where he holds the sword with two hands. Good luck. But apparently they think you can do it. Now when you come around to the back, you can see that you have these two connectors here. And that is where this is going to peg in. So just click that in there very nice and solidly. And there we go. There is our Celestial Warrior. I kind of wish this guy had a name. He doesn't really. But you can do whatever you want with the wings. You can spread them out. I kind of like to put them about here-ish. But if you want, like I said, you have a little bit of movement here. Out to the side, down, a little bit back, a little bit to the front. You have some options, which I think is cool. I love that. I love how big the wingspan is there. Because if it was shorter, you wouldn't even see it past the arm. So they did a really nice job there. Now, earlier I mentioned this sword configuration with the little head of the Pterosaur here. And you can't really fit this into the hand because it's kind of a square peg into a round hole situation. So unfortunately, that's not going to work. But they do give you a variety of other weapons that we can take a look at here. So this small piece here, you can flip this down, and this is supposed to be like a gun. You can kind of see that it has a little dinosaur head molded here to the side. This is the one time they actually nailed painting the eyes. That looks fantastic. So this looks like a little gun, and if you want, you can go ahead and pop that into his hand. And it's very tiny, but you can have him use that. They give you this piece and these two pieces. And I've been looking around trying to figure out if these are supposed to integrate into the other dinosaurs the way that these two pieces do. And I have not found anything. But you can take these and slide these in here. And for whatever reason, the one side on mine slides in very nicely. And this is very tight. So if I push this down any further, unfortunately, I'm going to have trouble. But you can see that this is supposed to be like an axe. So you have this axe, if this was further down, that he could use. And you can just go ahead and pop that into his hand to have a tiny little axe. Or you can take these back off like so. And then you can put them around. Instead of having them out like this for the axe configuration, you flip them upside down and put them on like so. And again, you would push these all the way down, but I can't, so I'll just bring this one out to meet it, so at least it looks symmetrical. And then you're going to take the blue sword from this and pull this out of his mouth. Come on, buddy. He does not want to give this up. There we go. Then you can pop this on here to make a new sword configuration, which I think looks really cool. I actually like this one quite a bit. I like the axe, but I really like this sword configuration as well. And then I already showed off the small sword with this that unfortunately you can't really use, but you can make a massive sword with all of them. And this is the one that's kind of shown on the box. So we're going to take this out. And for whatever reason, no trouble when I go to slide these in here like this. They love this piece, just not the other piece. So this goes in here like this. This clips onto the bottom like so. This feeds into here. And then this goes back in his mouth like this, so that we're using all of the pieces to make this massive sword, which I think looks really, really cool. I like this quite a bit. And then we're going to feed this into his hand here. It's a little tight, but you can get it through the hand. And there we go. Now he is wielding this giant blade. Which, honestly, this is probably at least 6 to 7 inches tall. Just the sword, which is pretty cool. So I like that a lot. Like I said, I definitely don't think there's any way you're going to have him have 2 hands on the blade, but it's a cool little combined robo. I really like him a lot. And honestly, he feels pretty solid. You know, he's a little loose. Like, I'm not saying he's completely solid, but he doesn't feel like anything's going to fall off. Everything's connected very nicely. And just for fun, here is the engineering construction team robot. You can see that that one is a little bit taller. He doesn't even quite fit on the screen. Let's see if I bring this back. So you can see this guy's a little bit taller, but I think this guy's kind of a, I don't want to say more fun design, but I feel like he's a lot easier to transform. I felt like this guy had spots where pieces got real tight or didn't want to stay in place where they were supposed to. This guy was just really easy, and he just looks a lot cleaner to me because this one had so many paint applications that ended up smudging. But because this is almost all just different colors of plastic, the color scheme and all the applications of different color just look cleaner and just looks a lot better and a little bit tidier in my opinion. Still both really cool, but I think I might have to give the edge to the Dino. So I actually think this is a lot of fun. Again, for around $25 or so, I think it's a pretty great set. I mean, you're getting 6 different dinosaurs, which look great in Dino mode. They have that little extra vehicle mode thrown in, which again, I don't really think is a selling point, but it's kind of fun, and it's just a little something extra. I think the one that works the best is for the T-Rex, because that actually transforms into a sizable bike that I feel like you probably have other figures that could utilize, and actually looks really, really cool riding it. So I think his chariot mode is the best. The others are really just kind of tucking the legs back so that they can roll instead of walk. But again, it's not the main selling point. It's just a little extra bonus. I think where this set really shines is the individual dino modes and the combined robot mode here, because I think this actually looks really cool. Very fun, very bright and colorful. They have a lot of great colors going on here. Definitely giving me Power Rangers and Sentai vibes, especially with it being dinosaurs. But yeah, just all in all, I think this is a lot of fun. I think the Stegosaurus and the Brachiosaurus down here are my 2 favorites in Dino mode, just because their design is super fun and the color schemes are great. And just the little like kind of derpy expression on the Brachiosaurus, I just absolutely love that. He looks great. So I don't have too much to complain about. If I had to complain about something, I would say the like legs of the dinosaurs on the arms get in the way of utilizing the articulation that's there. I didn't really go over it much because there's not a ton, but you do technically have like this movement here, but again, these kind of get in the way. You can kind of pop them back a little bit to get a little bit more out of it, which is nice. But then you have those elbows I showed you, and you just can't really get much out of them because there's so much stuff in the way. You can also kind of bring these a little bit out to the side, but not much. So I feel like there is articulation in the arms. You just can't really get at it because of the clearance problems with the dino feet. And then really you can just kind of turn these side to side. And I tried to show off the ankle tilt a little bit, but I just don't think that's necessarily going to work out for the Stegosaurus. A little bit over here for the Brachiosaurus. And then you look at this artwork, and like, yes, this is artwork, but then when you spin the box around, they try to show the toy replicating that pose, and I'm just not seeing how this is happening because, I mean, they show the arms actually bending and doing it, but I just don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe one day I'll try a little bit harder and try to get it to do it, but in any case, I still think this is a really fun set. I love the little individual dinos. I like the chariot mode for the T-Rex, and I really like the combined robot mode. So for 25 bucks, I think there's definitely fun to be had here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.